Today we're going to look at using a tarp and some tent poles for a quick and easy awning off the back of my 4Runner. Stay tuned. Have you been watching all the other overlanding videos where all these people seem to have a 50 or 60 or maybe $100,000 plus rig with awnings on the side and around the back, or a wraparound awning? I don't know about you, but I don't have the money to have a rig like that. So this is my budget setup. I wanted to have some kind of an awning. So I had this tarp and a couple of tent poles. The tarp is a 10-foot by 12-foot tarp, and tying it down a little bit, just like so, down to a few ground stakes, and tying the tent poles off in two directions seems to provide an okay awning. And it is slightly windy today, and it seems to be standing up to the test. Here is the tent stake. This is all it comes with 6 of these just cheap tent stakes. System also comes with 6 of these lines, 4 of which are shorter and 2 are longer. And they do already have an easy adjuster on them. So this makes adjusting very easy. And for this particular setup, I did have to add 2 of my own lines and 2 of my own tent stakes. For quick and easy adjustment, I've got these Night Eyes cammed carabiners. They work pretty good. They're nice and tight. They don't pull back through. They just work. But the overall setup, I just have it looped over the roof. It's not even attached to the roof of my vehicle. It's looped over, and it comes down, and the corner is tied to one of the guy lines, and it goes down to a tent stake. And the front part is done like that on both sides. I do have, since it is windy today, I do have another line going through the second loop and down to another tent stake, and it just seems to work. Now let's talk about the packaging. The Rainfly itself, all the lines and the stakes come in this little bag. Stores very easily, and as you can tell on here, this is the one that I have. It's 10 foot by 12 foot. It's a 210 ripstop polyester. It's very light, and it is manufactured by Red Camp, and they call it a camping Rainfly. I've used this thing several times, never had an issue with it. I haven't torn it, and I really only have a couple of loose threads. And the guy lines and the stakes come in this pouch, which goes in this one. Now let's take a closer look at the construction of the tarp itself. As you can see it's a ripstop. It does let some light through, and the seam is pretty decent. It's folded over, it's double stitched, and all of the tie-out points, they all have this little triangle stitched on the top and the bottom that's supporting every single tie-out point. And the corners are actually done a little more heavy duty, as you can tell right here. And the loops on the corners, that has a loop, and it also has a grommet to be able to put your own tent poles through. Now these tent poles are a pretty good construction, pretty solid, and I've only really used these a couple of times, but they are a twist lock pole. So you twist one section one way, twist the other one the other way, and it'll retract or extend and lock in place. And I believe these poles get to 8 or 9 feet long. As an example of being able to operate ham radio out of the back of the vehicle, I've got my 891 and my laptop set up along with my battery box. I can just pull up a chair, move my laptop down to the bumper, and it is plenty stable here. It's not going to go anywhere. And my radio mic reaches. I can easily reach my radio. I've got plenty of shade to operate and get in my contacts during a POTA activation, or if I'm just in a remote area and I want to play ham radio. Like I said earlier, this tarp would provide excellent protection from the sun or rain if you want to cook. I'm standing straight up underneath this tailgate and I'm 6'3", no headroom issues whatsoever. This is a completely stock 97 4Runner. I've done nothing to it, still running the factory tire size and everything, and this opens up and you can stand right underneath of it. Now let's just imagine I had a fancy drawer system with a pull-out kitchen. I could pull this out and cook right here and still be nice and comfortable in the shade, not getting rained on. Yes, technically this is over top of me, but say I didn't have that and the wind was blowing a little bit like it is today, I would be getting drenched standing right here, and inside of my truck would be getting wet if I didn't have a tarp like what I have put up. Let's imagine I don't have a fancy drawer system or anything like that, which I don't. As you can see, it is empty back here besides my ham radio junk. I could easily have a little plastic folding table that I bring on out of here, set up, and be able to cook right here, still have ample sun and rain protection, and it works. Now, I will say this tarp is not the easiest system to set up. It did take some time. It is a little windy today, so it was a little bit of a pain. An awning would be much easier to set up, but who has an extra $500, $600, $700, couple $1,000s, whatever they cost, just laying around where that you can throw that you can go and buy an awning for a vehicle that honestly you might use once or twice a month. That's a whole lot of cash to throw around. I don't know about you, but I'm not made of money, and I don't have extra stuff. I don't have extra laying around like that just to randomly spend. If I did, I'd probably have a little bit nicer vehicle like a 5th Gen 4Runner, a new Sequoia, a Tundra, something along those lines. But I'm broke just like everybody else, and so I'm stuck with this 97 4Runner. As you can see from the footage of me putting the tarp away, it does take a little bit of time. It does take less time to set it up, but putting it away definitely takes at least 15 minutes. The bag that they ship this in, you can't just stuff it back in the bag. It's not going to fit. You do have to take the time to fold it up. And there is, once you fold it up, there is plenty of room in here to stick some extra stakes or some extra cordage, even in this little bag too. So if you need extra stuff, go ahead and put it in there. It'll all fit in the original bag. But if you just want to be able to stuff this in a bag and go, you're going to end up having to get you a different kind of stuff sack to go about that. It may fit in this one. I'm not sure. I actually never tried it. I've always just folded that back up and put it back in the original bag. For me today, it was a little bit hard to set up because it is a little bit windy. Every so often I get a nice strong gust, and it'd pull a couple of my stakes out if I didn't have everything all cinched down quite yet. It took me about 10 to 12 minutes to get it all set up and staked out and get tension on everything. Hopefully somebody can get something out of this video. It does work. You don't have to go and drop several hundred or a couple $1,000s on like a 270 awning. ARB and some other manufacturers do make some that do mount up kind of on the side of the vehicle, up on the luggage rack or your roof rack, and they just extend off the side of the vehicle, and those do work. They're typically fairly cheap, but you do have to you do still have to have some tent poles. Most of them do come with those, and you'll have to stake those out. But if you want a freestanding awning, it is going to cost you quite a bit of money. So are the more expensive awnings worth it? If you have the spare money, yeah, they're worth it. It would be nice to be able to pop out a 270 awning and be set up in 5 or 6 minutes, and the takedown time also be 5 or 6 minutes. That would be very nice, but Unlike some people, I don't get out and go camping, but maybe once every couple of months due to my work schedule. So right now, an awning like that's not a priority to me, and I'll just keep using this cheap setup with these two poles. Just in case you would like a tarp setup like this, I will throw some links down in the description. I picked this stuff up off of Amazon. I think the tarp was around 30 bucks when I bought it. It might be a little more now. It's been a few years that I've had this tarp. And the tent poles, I think they were also around $20, maybe $25. And like I said, it's been a little while since I've had this kind of a setup. Like I said, I'm cheap, so if you like some super cheap solutions to problems, give me a subscribe. You might find some of my videos pretty helpful. Otherwise, I've got another video up over here that I'm going to link that you might enjoy. Take a look at it. Thanks for watching.